These are the products that I use on a daily basis. Now I have done a lot of stuff for health and longevity, maybe trying everything out there, and some have stuck, others have gone away within a matter of weeks. Today I'm going to share with you what is part of my life. Now, for each thing I will share today, I'm going to include a link below. They are not affiliate links. I'm not making money. The only product that is mine is the extra virgin olive oil, which I love, and I would encourage you to consume. It's delicious. Because I am a robot, I really like eating out of food grade stainless steel. So this is a container I have. And what it represents is, one, it's not plastic, but also it's what I use as a planning mechanism for my food. So I have a chef who makes food for me. She will come and make 3 to 4 days of food in any given time and put the food in these canisters, and then I put them in the fridge. This allows me to plan my meals out on a weekly basis and do so without worried about toxins. So I like these, they're sturdy, they keep food fresh, they have an airtight seal, they're easy to clean, and they don't corrode. So as an AI and robot, I enjoy eating food from food grade stainless steel. Air quality is really important. I didn't realize this before, as most things. I have one of these devices. This is from IQAir. This device is quantified and certified. And so you see it flashes through screens. It's showing the air quality in the kitchen, which is currently perfect, and also Marina del Rey, a local city from where I live. And then it flips through the various screens and tells you the various levels of toxins and how you're doing. And then at the end of each month, I get a report of how my air quality was, both inside and then also outside. Now, you don't have to get an IQAir device. There's many devices out there. Just make sure they're one that's certified. I know living in LA, which does not have great air quality, that maintaining pristine air quality in the house requires the proper closing of doors and windows. If they're open, my house, of course, has the same air quality indoors as outdoors. And I know this because my devices pick this up. This is extra virgin olive oil, and it has a very special place in my heart. The origins of this is that when we combed through all the scientific evidence and we said, what are the very best foods for health and longevity? Extra virgin olive oil came out at the very top, a superfood among superfoods. In fact, I consume more extra virgin olive oil than any food in my entire diet. The nuance is that you need to have a specific kind of extra virgin olive oil that is characterized and lab tested. I have extra virgin olive oil with every meal. I do 1 tablespoon or 15 ml, and I pair it with food because it has many health benefits. All right, next up is your nervous system. There are 2 modes that you can be in: fight or flight, where you're amped up, and then also chill. And the goal is to get you into chill state more often. First, I'll start with Neurosim. This device, you want to be on your left ear. Put this guy here, attach it to the tragus, and then it has a very light electrical pulse. This stimulates your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve is on the side of your left head and goes down to the neck, to the chest. And then you turn this guy on and you can do a 60-minute stimulation session. Next up is Sensate. I oftentimes will do this if I wake up at night and I can't go back to sleep. You put this little teardrop on your chest, right here in the middle. Your vagus nerve also is here in your chest. And I take a pillow, I'll wrap the pillow around and hold this close to my chest, and it follows a vibrational sequence synced to music. And I find again that it calms me down. So I like these devices. There are many others on the market, but I just generally encourage you to play with HRV. Find out what works for you. This is the thing that Blueprint has become best in world at, is measure, measure, measure. Oftentimes people do things, but they don't track it to see if it's really working or not. So begin with a wearable. This is Whoop, this is Oura, and this is an Apple Watch. Now you've probably seen these or had these yourself. They're all fine. I get all these questions of like, Bryan, what wearable do you use? It's honestly not a big deal. I use Whoop, I like the form factor. So choose a wearable that you like. Now the thing I love about wearables is it helped me create intuitions on what happens when. For example, I achieved the best sleep score in human history, 8 months of perfect sleep. The wearable helped me figure out how to get perfect sleep. Next up is measuring your body's temperature. I've learned with Blueprint that temperature is really important. In fact, it's something I measure every single day. I use this device, I put it in my ear, carefully position it and take the temperature reading. Over the past couple years, my body temperature has dropped from from 98.7 to 93.9. My metabolic systems have just become much more efficient. It has been really cool as I've measured my temperature every day to see how my body has gradually become cooler over time. I do really value temperature as a measurement that informs me of how I'm doing. This is a Withings scale. I use it several times per week to measure my weight and my muscle, body fat, bone density, etc. Now you can use any brand you'd like in doing this. I like having my body composition on a long-term scale to see what happens to my weight and my muscle based upon my dietary changes, my exercise protocol. So the point is, these basic measurements, whether it's a wearable, whether it's a scale, over time they give you a really good picture of your body, of how you've changed. You may not realize that's the case, but when you look back at the data, it's a really nice record of where you've been, and then you can piece together, now how do you stop that from happening again? Next up are adjustable dumbbells. To me, this is more really what it represents in life, that you can find smart solutions to do healthy things for yourself. If you live in an area where a gym is not easily accessible and you have maybe a small apartment to live in, that's hard to address your exercise. So you may only be limited to walking around. Things like this give you a big opportunity to have a relatively compact object that allows you to do a lot of exercise in a small space. Daily, I use these dumbbells in maybe 10 different exercises. So I use them all the time in almost everything I do, and they're probably the most used thing I have in my entire gym with full equipment. I started losing my hair in my late 20s, and I struggled over many years trying to figure out what things would work. And a part of my daily routine is doing 6 minutes of a red light cap therapy. I will apply the Blueprint Serum, massage it in my head with the scalp scrubber, and then wear this for 6 minutes. It has good evidence that it's a worthwhile thing to have as part of your daily protocol. Now, I really don't mind doing this every day because I have built my life with a series of habits. So when I wake up in the morning, I just start a sequence of events, and then I will pack, 5 to 10 things. So it doesn't really feel like I'm doing actual therapies. It's just part of my morning routine. This is a new addition to my protocol, and it's for hair health. I use it 3 times a day. So when I apply things to my hair, like a growth serum, I use this to massage my scalp. It stimulates blood flow. So if you want to try to add this to the protocol, again, I didn't do anything before to stimulate blood flow into my scalp, but it's actually enjoyable and a good practice with good evidence. Next up is 8 Sleep. This is the smart hub that sits adjacent to my bed. Now, I've used 8 Sleep for several years. I love their product. I didn't realize that a bed that changes temperature would actually help you sleep better. Sleep is the #1 performance enhancing drug of your entire life, and I found that 8 Sleep meaningfully improves my sleep on a regular basis. Now, I know this because when I travel and I'm in hotels without a temperature controlled mattress, I inevitably sleep worse. First, the bad news is I bought these pill tins several years ago. I love them, they're not available. So the company that sold them, they discontinued making them, and we haven't been able to find another company yet. I do really enjoy these. This is a food grade stainless steel. There are my pills I take, and they're great for travel, and they're great for the rotation. I'm now down to around 35 pills or so, down from about 100 at my peak. So I like these. It keeps things organized, it travels well, and it's a material that I am not worried about. A quick note to let you know that when we were identifying items on what to share with you today, I use a lot of things. It was pretty hard to narrow down to a small number. So a few questions for you. What am I not using, which you find efficacious? What of the things I am using have you found to be better? And then also, which things have you found to work the best? Let me know, because we're always on the lookout for the best options. I've tried to share a few to get the conversation started, but let me know.